Set to jump for Duke. Gary Maxwell throws it in the air, and it's controlled by the Blue Devils. Our officials, Gary Maxwell, Tony Green, and Bob Donato.
Virginia Tech opens up in man-to-man. Important who you put on Henderson early, because if he gets hot early, Brad, he can go for 30 points. Masayo on him early, doesn't challenge.
He's been on such a roll. 35 against Wake Forest, 19 in the win over Maryland earlier this week in the opening basket here for Gerald Henderson.
Look how far Virginia Tech has been pushed out in their first possession. You have to have the ability, Brad, to put pressure on the attacking defense of Duke.
Masayo carried it. And the first turnover of the ball game.
Brad, when these two teams played at Duke back in January, Virginia Tech only scored 9 points the last 17 minutes of the game. That Duke pressure just took them out of everything.
Nice defense on the inside by Jeff Allen. Virginia Tech, in fact, only 13 total points in a whole second half that Jimmy's talking about. Duke turns it over.
I think you have to try to score some in transition if you're Virginia Tech off your secondary break.
So the Hokies start with back-to-back turnovers and an offensive foul on their big guy, Jeff Allen.
He's the one guy that Seth Greenberg has that Duke probably can't handle just man-to-man on the inside.
Here's Henderson again. Singler, bounce pass to Henderson, the extra pass to Williams for 3. And the rebound is Delaney. And Singler is going to be called for a foul on Jeff Allen. Hank Thorns, there's a big missing ingredient right there, Jimmy.
Brad, that's a key loss. He started on Wednesday in their win on the road, and he was projected to start today, but he's been out the last 2 days battling illness. Obviously not dressed, and he's one guy that could break down that Duke pressure. That is a major loss to Virginia Tech this afternoon.
Meanwhile, Nolan Smith traveled with Duke, and he won't be playing either after suffering a concussion in their last outing. Masayo, well, that one was in and out and back in and back out. Henderson for 3. Nice positioning for the rebound. It's all Hokies underneath. Here's a pull-up triple. Way short. Battle for the rebound. Masayo. Extra pass. Delaney for 3. Crowd is just waiting to explode here for their Hokies to get a basket. And 2 minutes into the game, they still don't have one.
Elliot Williams with that basketball for Duke. This is his 4th start. A kid that only averaged 10 points a game the first 20-plus games, kept his confidence up. A lineup change has Duke feeling really good about themselves coming into this ball game.
Shire, 10 on the shot clock. Got it down low to Singler. Whoa, what a battle. Masayo, and that was some strength. Little bit of muscle for number 40 there. Jump ball to the Hokies.
Masayo's only 6'6", but he has great upper body strength. He does a good job of not jumping until Singler leaves the floor. Singler just not strong enough to take it through the contact. So you got a freshman guarding one of the top guards in the conference in Delaney. So far, he has not backed down from 23 and white.
In the paint, still no score. Switcher missed in close. 0 for 4 right now for Virginia Tech. There's a move by Williams. That's what Jimmy was just talking about. He gets better every game. He's had career highs each of the last 3 games, including 15 the other night in the win over Maryland. Finally on the board, Masayo knocks down a jumper.
And Brad, they kind of scored in their secondary break out of transition. They have to knock down some of those tough shots. I call them 22% shots. Virginia Tech must make their fair share in this game.
Singler on the drive, and nobody cut him off.
This is a Duke team that loves to drive that basketball, and 4 out of their 5 guys can do it well.
Point blank, stick back by Witcher, and he missed it. Shire all the way, left hand. Allen snatches down the rebound, and Shire steals it right back. And he's going to go for three and got it. Whoa. And a collision over there in the corner after the shot.
Those are the kind of plays that Duke has made past 29 years under Coach K. They don't allow one mistake to become two. That time Shire blows the layup, but he quickly shuts it off and comes right back and gets a rip of the basketball.
Saw Danny Green do that very same thing today in North Carolina's win over Georgia Tech, and that was on an inbounds pass, what I'm talking about. But those are the kind of plays that make Carolina and Duke the upper echelon of the ACC. There's the swipe. There's the three. 9-2 Duke early. The Hokies down by 7 early to the 7th-ranked team in the country, the Duke Blue Devils, here, part of Judgment Week. You know, the guys on game day were talking about Virginia Tech a lot today, Jimmy, about their resume. Here it is.
Well, what I like about their resume, not so much their RPI or their strength of schedule. What I like about it is they've got wins at Wake, at Miami, and at Clemson. Those 3 wins jump out at you from the resume this year, something that Virginia Tech did not have last year under Seth Greenberg. And one of the most talked about bubble teams last year was Virginia Tech. One more win, either today against Duke or North Carolina on Wednesday or at Florida State. And Virginia Tech, they can forget about bubble talk. They will be in.
Last year they were 14-3 at home. 21-14 was their final record after going to the NIT, but being left out of the NCAA. Coming in 7-6 in arguably the toughest conference in the country. It's either this one or the Big East, and you can argue it either way. Henderson on a runner. Singler tried to go up and just pin it off the glass. And now an errant pass by Vasayo for Delaney forces another turnover. And the Hokies have had 8 possessions and 1 basket so far. And you don't take the hottest guy in the ACC and give him the baseline all by himself.
Today at the shoot-around, Gerald Henderson came over and said, "Hey, Coach, let me see your chart." So I handed him my chart so he could read about himself. At that point, I'm thinking, okay, what have I written down that's not right about this guy? The one thing I had written down was explosive athlete. That part of my chart, very accurate.
Very accurate. Gives Duke an 8-point lead. Extra pass underneath is a good one this time, as Witcher scores in close.
Virginia Tech has to go inside against Duke. We all know that's one part of the floor that they sometimes can't defend and don't rebound well. Virginia Tech has to go inside around that rim.
Shire for 3. He's got 2 of them so far on 2 attempts.
Important for Shire to knock down shots on the road, Brad. He's only 23% in road games this year as opposed to 39% at home. But he has handled that move to the point guard terrifically. 9 assists, only 2 turnovers so far at that spot.
This is deja vu all over again from the first game with Duke back in January that you mentioned, which ended up being a 25-point loss by the Hokies. Here's Hudson. He just thudded one to the back of the iron, and then Witcher missed the stick back, and the rebound's going to be Duke's.
Boy, no reason for Witcher to get in such a big hurry on the second attempt. 9 guys from Virginia Tech that Duke cannot answer around that rim. No reason to play too quick. Virginia Tech is switching on the on-ball screening action by Duke early in this ball game. Taking away the 3s by design, forcing Duke to make 2s.
Here's Henderson. Wow, so smooth. And it looks like one of those days when you said if he gets off early, it could be a long, long day, and he has, and it's an 11-point lead already.
Virginia Tech took away the 3-point shot by Henderson, forced him to knock down a tough 2, and he did. He's a guy that's not ready, I don't think, for the NBA. He's a 6'4" 2 guard. Another year, he could make himself a lottery pick.
Whistle and a foul.
Brad Henderson, the guy, you see him work without that basketball. Now they've taken away his 3s by switching. So now that opens up a hard drive. And if you don't get on that low shoulder of Henderson, he will take what you give him. That time he took up the slack and pulled up and knocked down a 22% shot. And hard guard right now is 15 in black.
Just over 7 minutes into the game, and Virginia Tech with only 5 points. Basayo, this guy can score in a hurry. Here's a three running out on the baseline, and the rebound is Zubak.
Virginia Tech is not running an offense early in this ball game. They're having trouble getting into their offense, and so far their offense has been 1 or 2 passes and a drive or a tough shot. That won't work against Duke.
Paulus running the point now. Singler in there, Zubak, McClure, and Williams, who scrambles for the rebound and then walked with it before he got the shot away. Look at the marks of last year. Very similar. Those 2 wins versus top 25 that Jimmy was talking about. Number 1 Wake Forest and number 12 Clemson, both on the road.
Yeah, and then they have a good win as far as passing the eye chart for me at Miami. I look at Virginia Tech right now, Brad, compare them to the likes of Siena and Creighton and Davidson. Those 3 teams that are in the bubble conversation, they don't have those eye-catching, grabbing wins that a Virginia Tech has. I think they're in great shape, but they cannot lose 3 in a row to close out the regular season.
Those teams you mentioned would be best left to win their conference tournaments, to be sure. Shire with another steal, 5 turnovers, and only 2 baskets for Virginia Tech.
The Hokies cannot be offensive sensitive right now. Their offense is not clicking at all. So now it's a real premium that they bite down and clamp down defensively.
And a whistle and an offensive foul. 11:38 remaining. Yeah, the whiteout, maybe the lights are too bright for the Hokies. They've only got 5 points so far. So Butler, we saw them last week, Matt Howard and Gordon Hayward, 2 excellent players. And I guess that means Tom Brady is healthy if Matt Castle's going to the Chiefs, huh? Judgment Week continues on ESPN tonight. Pac-10 matchup. 2 teams with identical records. Bruins and the Bears getting together. Saturday primetime presented by DirecTV. Part of Judgment Week on ESPN at 9 o'clock tonight. And it'll all start with game day at 8 again.
Brad, it's time for Malcolm Delaney right now with that basketball to take over offensively. Elliott Williams, the freshman, started on him. He's on the bench right now, so Paulus is checking Delaney. Delaney needs to go to work.
Witcher again underneath. And it'll be ball out of bounds to the Hokies.
Delaney with 25 and 26 points back-to-back in their last 2 ball games, 0 for 2 today. Paulus is not the best defender. That's part of the reason why his minutes have dropped. Delaney needs to take advantage of it right now.
Here's J.T. Thompson. And it goes. Up, traveling. This one they get something to go right. They pick their 6th turnover up instead.
Not a great ball handling club, Virginia Tech. They are 12th in the ACC, only averaging 11 assists per ball game, and it's starting to show right now their lack of playmakers on the floor.
Paulus around a pick. Somebody got a hand on that jumper, and back come the Hokies on the run.
Go pull.
Basayo. 3's not there. Bell tried to get the rebound and lost it to McClure.
If Basayo and Delaney don't knock down jump shots,
trouble.
Duke wins this game double figures.
Yep.
That's the bottom line.
Almost the midway point of the first half. All Duke so far. 16-5. Shire got an opening. Leans in off the glass.
That's too easy. Virginia Tech didn't switch. They didn't hard hedge. They got caught in no man's land, and Shire just took his time, pulled up, and used the angle.
Out of control is Bell. An offensive foul.
Rather not running any offense. First of all, the pressure is really bothering their initial entry pass, and if they make the entry pass, they're just lowering their head like a bull in a china closet right now, and that will not work offensively against a well-schooled defense like Duke throws at you. You got to turn them over. You got to set screens. You got to make Duke work a little bit, see if they will break down. So far, Virginia Tech has not gotten to that point in the half court.
This thing could be 35-15 by halftime if Virginia Tech doesn't lock down on defense and play smarter offensively, as Jimmy's talking about. Anderson puts a move on Bell. in the paint, just elevates and drains it. He's got 8.
Just watch the offense right now. We haven't even made our initial entry pass. There's the entry pass. Now see what happens after this. Mistake made by Duke.
They haven't made many.
Nope.
Leading by 15. The foul was on McClure. Blue Devils in the midst of a 9-0 run right here.
What you don't want to do is give this guy's team this kind of a lead on the road. It's an experienced ball club. They play with a lot of confidence. A very competitive group. I happened to walk by their locker room about 30 minutes prior to tip, Brad, and it was a noisy, raucous, fired up, we're coming for a street fight type atmosphere. I loved hearing it.
Allen with a hook. Got the roll. Jeff Allen's first field goal. Crowd's trying. First field goal in almost 5.5 minutes for the Hokies. Here's Henderson. He's been red hot. Misses this one, but he's fouled on the follow-through by Bell. Duke, always competitive. They're a reflection of their coach. You think he's not competitive? Look at this against Wake Forest. He's telling the crazies what the heck, or something to that effect, to get them a little more in the game. They went on to win that game. One of their 9 conference victories.
Head coach of the U.S. Olympic team gold medal winning squad. And you talk about all those stars and studs and pros and all NBA guys. None of those guys are more competitive than Coach K. He had the ability to bring them together as a team, but he also had the ability to lead them as a competitor, something that you have to have, the respect of those type guys, and he did it for them.
Anderson got the second of 2 from the free throw line. 9 for Gerald.
Malcolm Delaney now with Williams back on him. So he didn't take advantage of Paulus guarding, and now Williams back on him and Duke switches.
Singler. Nice pass inside. JT Thompson. Again, inside is where they've had some opportunities. They made the last couple count. They missed a lot of in-close shots early. Oh, man. Henderson just took everybody to the basket. And I think we got a technical on top of everything else.
Maybe a little extra words by Henderson, if that's the call, completely out of character. But you cannot give Henderson the baseline shoulder. He will dunk on you and put a knot on your head every single time.
Delaney at the free throw line.
Brad, when you go out to take Henderson on the perimeter, you have to make sure that your lead foot is right in the middle of his 2 feet. If your lead foot as a defender is on his high shoulder, he's going to go by you. That time the lead foot for Visayo is on the wrong side, and that little extra jawing right there, boom, that's an easy call. Out of character for Henderson, out of character for Duke.
Henderson will hear about it from this crowd the rest of the afternoon now. But he has 11 points, and his team has a 12-point lead. Delaney is yet to score from the floor. Thompson, he's got a tough shot, and he's got a free throw coming up.
Brad, where have they done their damage?
Inside.
Inside, that 6-foot radius around the rim. Something that Duke is going to have to answer for come March when the bracket comes out. And this is where Virginia Tech has had some success. They drive at Singler. Singler doesn't throw up a wall strong enough. And JT Thompson makes him pay. And now he's only 6'6". It's not like it's a 6'9" guy going at your chin through the rim. This is a 6'6" guy that has exposed Duke.
He's packed together, though. Not a good free throw shooter, but he rips that one. Good three-point play. Thompson's got 5 off the bench. He's a leading Virginia Tech scorer. And they get it back to single digits with 8:15 remaining in the first half. With Jimmy Dykes, I'm Brad Nessler. Duke is led throughout. Virginia Tech trying to scramble back. They can't stop Gerald Henderson, though. Henderson right now has got 6 field goals and a free throw.
And Brad, I know I'm getting irritated, so I know what Seth Greenberg is thinking. On Gerald Henderson, why do you continue to not take away his baseline shoulder? Hard to understand the last day of February.
Another muscle shot inside. This one's Jeff Allen's.
Brad, Duke has not gotten out of the first weekend of the NCAA tournament the last 2 years because teams go right at them at the rim, something Virginia Tech has to do.
Henderson fouled by Hudson. And a timeout with 7:34 remaining in the first half. Duke is led from the get-go. Up 25-16 here in Blacksburg. This guy has been nearly unstoppable. 13 of those 25 Duke points are Gerald Henderson's.
Well, watch the mistake made by A.D. Visayo. When Henderson catches the ball, hold it right here, guys. That's too close. That's how you would guard a guy that is a legitimate three-point shooter. So Henderson is a driver. The left foot got too high. Henderson goes baseline. You have to know personnel-wise what you're guarding. Henderson, Brad's not going to beat you from three. He's going to beat you from the two-point territory. He's coming from inside.
Shire going inside with a little teardrop, and it's tipped in on the baseline. I think they gave it to Lance Thomas. No, they gave it to McClure.
Run your offense. Get to the third or fourth pass, and that's at a minimum. We're not asking very much right now out of Virginia Tech's offense.
They've hit 4 of their last 5 shots after starting 2 for 13, but that's by going inside, as Jimmy's been preaching to them the whole ball game. Ball out of bounds to the Hokies. J.T. Thompson may have gotten poked in the eye.
13 on the shot clock, so coming out of this, they're not going to have time for that third or fourth pass. They need to go to a quick hitter in isolation, let somebody go to work. This would be the guy.
Malcolm Delaney still looking for a score from the field. He's got 2 free throws is all. He's working against McClure. He goes all the way in, and an offensive foul.
Brad, you have to pull up 1 step sooner than normal against Duke. Delaney did the right thing. They isolate him, let him go to work, pull up right there, and he comes to that 2-footed jump stop. And in perfect position is Lance Thomas. This is a Duke team. You have to stop 1 step earlier than normal.
Duke has always, on a perennial basis, been one of the best teams in the country at taking charges. That's the 3rd offensive foul on the Hokies in this first half.
And Brad, they have to. They're a small team. They're not a shot-blocking team.
Henderson, a little out of rhythm on that one, and then that's the way the day has gone. Visayo just loses it on the dribble out of bounds. It's been a tough day for Visayo and Delaney, the number 5 and number 6 scorers in the ACC. They each have 2 points.
I told you Virginia Tech needs 1 more quality win. But I can promise you this, Duke, North Carolina, and at Florida State, they ain't going to give it to you.
Shire on a 3 on the inbounds. That's his 3rd of the first half. Here's Visayo. Almost airmailed that one over to McClure.
That offense will not work. It will not work.
Henderson, a quick first step, and then around the back, and the pass in low. That left-handed hook, that's the 2nd time Elliot Williams has hit that shot in the lane. That's the biggest lead of the ball game, and a timeout taken by the Hokies. They're in a little bit of shock. 32-16, with just under 6 remaining in the first half. Seth's sport coat didn't last long. I can see why. His team has been doubled by Duke, 32-16. Under 6 minutes remaining in the half, and the Hokies would do well right now to get this thing back to single digits before they head to the locker room.
Elliot Williams, number 20 in black on Delaney, is really locking him down. Duke's defense, Brad, has always been based on pressure with discipline, and this freshman right here understands pressure discipline as well as anyone. Lance Thomas picks up his 2nd foul. Big Monday coming up. Villanova takes on Notre Dame at 7, and then at 9, Baylor against the Texas Longhorns. Big Monday presented by Bud Light on ESPN. At the free throw line, Jeff Allen. Allen had a 30-point game this year against Boston College. In fact, the Hokies
one of the few teams in the country that have had 3 different players at one time or another score 30+ in a game this year. Led by Delaney, who had 37 against Clemson and has only 2 so far this afternoon. Not trying to pick on Malcolm Delaney, but they got to get him in the offense somehow.
No, that's not picking on him at all. That's just calling it exactly like it is. Duke switching out on Delaney, and he just can't get any freedom at all.
Anderson playing with tremendous amount of confidence right now for Duke with 10 on the shot clock. He'll backpedal on the dribble, and now might be the man that'll take the shot. There it goes. Rebound comes off to Delaney. Messiah, wide open look. Finally got one to go. A.D. Messiah with a 3. Henderson around 2 screens, got up in the air, lost in space, and turned it over.
A good job by Shire to run and find Delaney. Delaney likes to run and get out in front of you.
That would have been a big one. The crowd waiting for Delaney to be able to drop one as Vasayo did from the other wing on the last trip down. That one didn't fall with 4:20 remaining. Still Duke by 11.
Virginia Tech is running a gambling offense. That's not going to work. Gambling on bad shots going in against Duke.
Shire found an opening after his man went down and hit the deck. Lorenzo Hudson, short-armed one from the free throw line. Timeout taken by Mike Krzyzewski, even though his team's up 11. Just under 4 minutes remaining in the half. We got a timeout. Nolan Smith, we talked earlier about Hank Thorns being out, the point guard for Virginia. Smith out with a concussion, and that happened against Maryland the other night. Watch him playing backcourt, one-man pressure defense. Boom, runs right into Neal's shoulder, and down he goes, and he's out indefinitely. And Mike Krzyzewski told me before the ballgame, we brought Nolan along for a couple reasons. One, we want him to be part of the team, but we also want to keep our eye on him. So what better way than to bring him on the road? You noticed he's wearing earplugs, so the noise won't make the concussion or the one that he suffered earlier this week any worse than it already is. Zubac walked with it.
Brad, the other guy not playing today on Virginia Tech sidelines, Hank Thorns, really missing his ability to run the club, go by people, and be a point guard. A major loss this afternoon for Virginia Tech.
Coming up, flying blind. Right now, Duke flying by 11. All right, John, well, that's the second one that Clemson's taken on the kisser this week. The other one was delivered by Virginia Tech, 80-77. Here's our blind resume. Take a look at this now, and you think about this. We're going to come back to it because the ball's going to be inbound. We gave you a little chance. Got a look. Conference wins, 7 on the left, 8 on the right. Think about it. We're coming back to it as soon as we have a stoppage in play. I think I know one of those teams.
I look where Virginia Tech starts their offense. 4 or 5 strides outside that three-point line. They just cannot put pressure on Duke early.
I think Virginia Tech's a team on the left because I've been studying about Virginia Tech for about 3 days.
Well, exactly right. And you know what? Last Sunday, the ESPN analysts got to do a great thing. About 12 hours, we had a mock selection draft up in Bristol. I thought a lot of key things came out of that meeting, Brad. Number one, we never talked about league RPI, first of all. It was never discussed. What we did discuss was show us who you played and who you beat. Not so much about strength of schedule, because that can be deceiving, but who did you beat on that strength of schedule? And Virginia Tech is in great position, just like Michigan with some key wins, but Virginia Tech needs one more.
I'll say one thing about that. You analysts, 12 hours. We play-by-play guys, we don't let the bosses take us past 8. Forget about it. It's another day. Then it's a 2-day seminar. All right?
Well, you know, the other thing that came out of that meeting, and I know how you are, you're right, we never talked about how many teams are coming out of each league. It was never in the discussion. So it's not about the Big East getting 9 teams or the ACC getting 8. It's about who are the 34 best teams remaining after the automatics are given. That's how it should be. I think that's how it will be.
Another offensive foul, and Seth Greenberg didn't like it. So for those of you that can read lips, you can pretty much say what Seth said about that offensive foul on Jeff Allen. That's the 4th offensive foul.
Hey, Brad, I was on a radio show yesterday and got asked the question that all of us get asked right now: what's the best conference? And I said, I'll tell you on Selection Sunday, I think it's what percentage of your league gets in. It's not how many teams. For instance, if the Big East gets 8 and the ACC gets 8, I give the nod to the ACC because percentage-wise, 8 out of 12 obviously better than 8 out of 16. I think that's what you have to go by.
Coming up, halftime, the UBS halftime report. Blake Griffin back for Oklahoma. They're playing Texas Tech also on ABC. Some of the country seeing that one. A Big East upset. And a franchise quarterback is going to Kansas City. All that and more at halftime.
They continue to have their success when they can go at the rim. This time Delaney not a scorer, but he is an assist man.
7-0 run right now. Wallace in the corner with Delaney on him. Found a little crease, lost it out of bounds, but last touch by the Hokies. Blake Griffin again. We've been talking about guys with concussions, and we have one here in Nolan Smith. Blake's been out for a couple of games, and there's Nolan. Remember Matt Causey at Georgia Tech? When was that last year when he had a concussion and he kind of came back in a little too soon, or at least that's what the nation thought because it was on national TV, and his parents kind of wondered too. And I kind of wonder if coaches are being a little more cautious right now. Maybe keeping a guy out an extra game because of that. Because it got national attention.
I mean, he was actually on the floors playing with his eyes rolling back in his head.
Henderson misses a 3 with 3 on the shot clock, but it's kept alive by McClure. And again, knocked out of bounds. And it'll be Duke ball.
Brad again against Henderson. Force him to knock down multiple threes in the ball game. He makes 7 two-point shots a game right now. He's a driver. He's a hard driver. Virginia Tech has adjusted from the first 5 or 6 minutes when I was so critical of them on-ball defensive Henderson.
It's a hard driver like the Kenseth guy in the NASCAR.
Hard driver.
3 in a row tomorrow, right?
Yes, he is.
Hope that's on ESPN, is it? I don't know. If you watch NASCAR, you're going to watch it no matter what network it's on. 1:10 remaining in the half. Shire gave up a 3. Leaned in. Boy, how many times is the ball going to come free and not come out with a white jersey? This time it does. Delaney, whoa, he almost lost it. Got a high bounce. Bell lost it to Basayo, and now, look out, air traffic control.
Virginia Tech can't convert a 4-on-1. And Duke makes him pay.
Just when they got it down to single digits and could have cut it down to 7 or 6. That loose ball was Gerald Henderson's, and he took it coast to coast.
That was the biggest possession of the first half. Virginia Tech had a chance for some momentum.
Delaney off glass. His first field goal came with 28 seconds left in the half. That's not good enough. But they can get a stop here as Duke's going to play for 1. They would take single-digit deficit to the locker room, as I said about 6 minutes ago.
You know, if you're Duke, you take the very last shot right now. Not even so worried about an offensive rebound, but the last shot.
Henderson got it.
Pretty good timing.
They still have a chance. Basayo looks up, lets fly from half court. Oh! And he almost got it. So on its 11-point Duke lead, they have led from the opening tip. Gerald Henderson's been sensational with 17 points. So our Star Watch is lopsided right now.
Last possession for Virginia Tech. It's a 4-on-1 that becomes a 4-on-2. And great effort by Duke, a small team that fights you up top. They go and hammer it the other way.
Halftime score, Duke 36, Virginia Tech
20. Came out of the locker room to get him some fresh air, and he had 2 bottles of water in each hand. And then he didn't actually go through the warm-ups from here, Brad, before the second half began. He was doing a lot of stretching, almost like it was signs that he was fighting off a little bit of fatigue and a little bit of cramping in that locker room.
You know, by the time they play on Tuesday, there's a look at Henderson stretching before the start of the second half. By the time they get done playing Tuesday, they're going to have had 4 games in about 9 days or whatever it is, and that's almost unheard of at this time of the year. And Mike Krzyzewski was telling us before the ball game, he is a little bit worried about that. They played the late game against Maryland, so you get back to Duke about 3 o'clock in the morning, and Thursday's a wash. You go to school, you have to come up to Blacksburg tomorrow. I mean, I know everybody has this problem, but these guys right now are doing as many games as we are, only we're not running up and down the floor. Allen, chance for a three-point play.
Brad, Malcolm Delaney has to factor in offensively in this ball game. He has to score, but he also has to make plays like this. He just blows right by Williams. Williams got a little too upright. Delaney can really score the basketball, and right now they're taking away his shot, so he has to affect this game in other areas.
This guy trying to go into double figures, the only one for Virginia Tech. Jeff Allen, the sophomore out of Washington, has made it again a single-digit game. First 4 minutes of the second half, always so important, and probably more so for the Hokies right now. Singler, nice drive inside, foul by Vassell.
Singler gets checked as he comes through the lane by J.T. Thompson. Singler, a very physical player. This is a kid that loves to drive baseline. That's what got him to the free throw stripe right now. He's the only guy, Brad, for Duke on the road that is over 33% from the three-point line. So he's got some toughness about him as well.
Sophomore out of Medford, Oregon. Only has 3 points so far today. Number 12 scorer in the conference at about 16 per ball game. Knocks down both free throws. 10-point Duke lead.
Brad, I tried to come up with my first team all ACC guys this morning. Had this conversation with Coach K and with Seth. There are 17 guys that we came up with that you could argue to be in those top 5 slots. That's how talented and deep this league is.
This guy normally would be mentioned, hasn't had a big game today, but he kept that one alive, and Vassell with a left hand off the glass has got it down to 8 again. Loose ball momentarily. Williams snatches it. Henderson wants it in his hands.
Don't let Henderson drive. Don't let Shire shoot threes. Singler can do a little bit of both.
There's the three. Right on Jimmy's cue. His 48th of the year from three-point land.
Brad, did you see his foot fake that set up that three-point shot? I talked about Singler's ability to do both. He can foot fake you. If you take the foot fake, boom, step right up in your grill. Here's my all-ACC team as of now. 5 question marks. Because just go down the list. Tony Douglas leads the league in scoring. Jack McClinton is a future pro. Malcolm Delaney, Gerald Henderson, Tyler Hansbrough, Vassell, Tyrese Rice, Ellington, Ty Lawson. Where do you draw the line in this league?
I don't know, but you're supposed to be my expert analyst. Couldn't you put something in one of those categories there?
I just know this. Coach K had the same 5 question marks, and I trust his basketball knowledge as well. So did Seth Greenberg. This is a league that is deep. I went to 17, legit 17 guys. Didn't even talk about guys like James Johnson at Wake Forest, Trevor Booker at Clemson, Vasquez at Maryland. Big-time players.
Feet inside. There's a big-time slam by Lance Thomas. Well, right now, look out. Here's a steal by Singler and a trip by Allen. That's going to be his 3rd foul, and that's not good news for Seth Greenberg.
Brad, every time you throw a high school hairy pass against Duke, they're going to make you pay. They are so good at baiting you after a basket, acting like they're going to the other end for 2 or 3 steps, and bam, right back in the passing lane. And they've gotten 2 of them in this ballgame. One by Shire, now one by Singler.
I was going to say the one by Shire, he took to the corner and hit a 3. Now the one by Singler could become 2 on the free throw line, as he's a good free throw shooter. Witcher's going to come back in. They're going to get Allen out of there with those 3 fouls, at least for a moment.
We're going to think about this for Duke. Their last 3 ball games coming into today, they've made 23, 27, and 20 free throws. So they have some areas of concern, like their size around the rim. But because they don't turn it over and they attack you on both ends, they can make up with it in the game of possession.
The last time they played Virginia Tech, they went 19 for 20 from the free throw line in that 69-44 win back at Cameron.
Duke the same size team, so they're having success switching out on Delaney.
Delaney on the inside. A free one comes to the weak side to J.T. Thompson. Thompson's 4 for 4 off the Hokie bench. Singler got the quick first step in the reverse layup.
You know, it's just at some point you wonder what Virginia Tech is thinking on the defensive end, Brad. Time and time again, giving the wrong shoulder to Duke and allowing them to drive that ball to the rim.
You're scratching your head over here. The coach in you is coming out. I can see it. A little bit of steam also coming out of your ear.
It's frustrating. I mean, you know Duke is a team that loves to attack you off the bounce, and they love to go baseline. Maybe 25, 26 games into the season, every film tells you they are a drive-first team.
On that drive, the ball lost off the stomach of Gerald Henderson.
Now watch Singler. He's going to pop, you get on the high shoulder, and he's going to attack your low shoulder. Every single time, they do a great job of clearing out one half of the floor, Brad, to open up that baseline drive.
Delaney still with only one field goal today. Thompson followed his miss, and Thompson's in double figures. So it's the two big guys, Jeff Allen and J.T. Thompson, that are trying to keep the Hokies in the hunt. 16:29 to go. They're down 10. In Blacksburg, Castle Coliseum, as we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary with 16 and a half minutes remaining in the ball game. At halftime, Duke by 11, and they stay in front by double figures. Gerald Henderson hasn't scored yet this half. And Virginia Tech, you don't like your turnovers and your field goals to be even. Not a good sign. Although they've hung around, they've made some better plays, just not getting defensive stops on Duke in this half so far.
Brad, Gerald Henderson has the last 3 weeks embraced being the star for Duke, and you have to have a star if you're going to make a deep run in March, and Henderson has both arms around that star right now.
That time Messiah stayed with him and blocked his shot out of bounds. Well, included in there for Gerald Henderson, a career high 35 against Wake Forest. He and Shire both had over 30 in that game. That doesn't happen very often. Here's Singler. He got all tangled up with Delaney. They were doing a hokey pokey. There's Gerald Henderson.
Well, he's gotten better month to month to month, and he's gotten better his 3 years on that Duke campus. I don't think he's ready for the NBA. Yes, he could get drafted and make a team, but if he comes back another year, not only is Duke a legitimate top 4 or 5 team all season long, he continues to work on that three-point shot. He is in a lottery pick as opposed to just being drafted this year.
Coach K said, I think he can get a lot better. Yep. As Delaney knocks it off the glass and has a chance for a three-point play. Maybe Malcolm should have taken that headband off earlier today. I think he's got a little more air coming into his face. This is his best play of the game. Take away the sweatband, try to put the sweat on Duke. 46-38. A little bit calmer than he was about 30 seconds ago. Watch the veins in the neck of Mike Krzyzewski. He didn't like that last transition basket at all by this guy at the free throw line, Malcolm Delaney, who completes the three-point play.
That was an attention-getting timeout. Delaney makes the basket. They don't get back in transition defense, and Coach K gets everybody's attention with under 16 to go, as well he should.
Closest it's been in the last 19 minutes. Oh, and what a three by the freshman. You talk about guts. Coming out of that timeout, you take that shot. Well, he had the look. Only his 6th three-pointer of the year. A huge one there that settles the crowd back down.
Brett, I'm amazed at the confidence that Elliott Williams plays with after being a 10-minute guy off the bench the first 20-plus games of the season. He thinks that he belongs as a starter in the ACC, averaging double figures. That's the reason why he's on the floor as much as anything.
Freshman out of Memphis. Kids in Memphis are tough.
Yeah, they are. I mean, he can really guard the ball. But he can also score, and he's confident.
Well, with him out there, they don't have anybody under 6'4" in the starting lineup. There's a block shot by Lewis Witcher. And you hear the chants of Lou. Shire, kind of a tough bounce pass, and Duke turns it over. ABC and ESPN, your NBA destination tomorrow. First, it's the Pistons against the defending world champion Celtics at 1. The Lakers and Suns, Shaq and Kobe. That'll be fun. And the Cavaliers and Hawks. Prime time on ESPN. Coverage starts 12:30 Eastern with the GMC NBA Countdown. Brad Nessler and Jimmy Dykes and our ESPN on ABC crew from Blacksburg, where the Hokies have never led in the ball game. Delaney drives underneath, ran out of real estate, and threw it right to Shire.
Brad, the problem is when Virginia Tech and Delaney, they attack the basket, the other 4 white jerseys are stationary. They're not moving. They're not getting in his vision well enough.
Anderson fights for that rebound and keeps it alive. Shire wants it. He didn't get it on time to shoot the 3. Guarded by Allen, way out near midcourt, and Allen's got 3 fouls. He's got to be a little bit careful. He switches off again. Here's Shire. He got back to that spot, but he missed the shot, and Vasayo snatches the rebound. Vasayo goes coast to coast. He hasn't done that all day.
There will be a substitution for Duke. I'm not sure who's going to come out, but somebody's coming out.
You're right. Greg Paulus is at the score table. Down to 8 again. As Frank Beamer told this crowd, you got to help the basketball team in the second half. They are trying. Henderson for 3. Rebound. Allen's got it.
Brad, they have forced Henderson now to become a jump shooter in the second half.
Delaney all the way. Last time he rushed a pass, that time he rushed a shot. Got to be smarter with the ball.
He needs to do the hokey pokey and slow yourself down. Duke will have the ability to speed you up, and they have sped up number 23 in white several times in this ball game.
Instead of slowing himself down, he turned himself around. Henderson's going to try it again from the same spot. And again, as you said, nope, that's not his game. And now a backcourt foul on Elliott Williams. There might be 2 guys coming out.
There will be. But Paulus checks in, and we're talking about the last time that Vasayo went all the way to the rim and dunked. And this is going to be the reason. Stop the ball, stop the ball, stop the... Someone get in.
And indeed, 2 guys have come in, including Paulus, who's applying some backcourt pressure right now. 49-41. And the Hokies get it down to 6. It's been a long time since it was 6. In traffic. Thomas got it. Hasn't been this close since it was 11-5. Timeout. Minutes remaining in the ball game. A chair almost suffered. Remember, Bob Knight is his mentor. Yep. The chair almost went. That's not a good sign.
No, here's what that chair's about, though. It's about tomorrow becomes March. And you better play with March intensity and March drive and March passion with every possession. And that's what Coach K, the message he's sending right now, because now Virginia Tech, they are playing with desperation. Why? Because they need one more quality win, I think, to lock up an at-large. And right now, Duke, they have a resume that says they're definitely not only on my NCAA jet, but they're way up there close to first class, if not business class. But that's not what it's about right now for Duke. It's about getting better every possession and making a drive in March. And they have not gotten better in this second half so far.
The Hokies have put together a run. They get another stop here. This place could explode. But Shire's open for 3 and got it.
Guts, man. That kid's got guts. He's a long, built like a green bean, but he's got guts.
And now the Hokies turn it over on the other end. Shire coming this way again. He might take a heat check.
Another baseline drive. He's giving the wrong shoulder.
Paulus for 3. Rebound, Vasayo.
There's nothing there. Now you have to run some offense if you're Virginia Tech.
JT Thompson feeling his oats a little bit. He hadn't hit a three-pointer all year.
That's not running offense. I mean, you made 2 passes, and a guy that hasn't made a 3 all year jumps up and shoots.
Anderson's going to be fouled. A lot of white jerseys around here. Let's wait and see who it's on. I think it's going to be on Allen. Seth Greenberg, he's just as upset, but he doesn't have a chair in his hand.
Not yet.
College basketball returns after this word from our ABC station. Duke here up by 9, 11:32 remaining in the half. Jimmy, what do you say in the locker room about those baseline drives now?
Well, Virginia Tech has struggled taking away the baseline drives, Brad. And if this is the baseline side for you, Virginia Tech, they've been getting on your high shoulder and letting you go baseline.
Right.
If you're Virginia Tech, you got to make sure your right foot is in the middle of Duke's players right now and with your left foot back, because now I've got to step on you and I can take it away. If they make that adjustment the rest of this ball game, they're in good shape. They have to take away those baseline drives. It's just a matter of your footwork.
Tony Green just said, dude, you got the game ball.
Yeah, we actually had the game ball
there.
there.
We had the game ball. Thanks, guys. I hope I didn't get it all sweaty for Gerald Henderson at the free throw line. See, I gave him a little magic.
You know, just that little half-step difference, Brad, of me attacking you in the middle of your body as opposed to your high shoulder is what eliminates that baseline drive. And if you back up another half step and give yourself some cushion, it's another big plus. Virginia Tech has to do that. The remaining 11 minutes and 32 seconds of this game.
Henderson got both free throws. His only points so far the second half, but 19 for the game. So he continues to be one of the hottest players in the ACC. Let's see if Virginia Tech can run their offense. Shire almost got the steal.
Still plenty of time. You can isolate Delaney and let him drive.
Paulus switches off on Delaney. Basayo got the three.
You know what I love about Basayo? He's 6'6", because Duke really had him covered up pretty well. But that extra 2 inches he had on the defender let his eyes measure the rim.
He's got the only 2 3-pointers for the Hokies today. That was a big one as we're almost at the midway point of the second half. Henderson again taking the 3-pointer, but Singler keeps it alive and scores inside.
You know what? Whether or not he was on the back of Virginia Tech or not really doesn't matter. That was a 50-50 ball, and the guy with the biggest Valentine on that play, Singler, comes down with it.
Basayo, heat check. Got it.
Again, he's 6'6". And he explodes in his jump shot almost like he's on a pogo stick or a mini trampoline, so his elevation gets him over the top of the defense.
His dad hit a bunch of those in the Puerto Rican pros for a long time. Henderson has to give the ball up.
Well, they are doing a much better job on Henderson right now, making him a jump shooter instead of a driver.
8 on the shot clock. You don't want to give Shire an easy shot here. They don't. Now Paulus is going to have to launch one. Kept alive by Thomas. Boy, that was good defense by the Hokies. They worked that whole clock down. 33 seconds worth of great defense, and then the long carom comes off to Thomas.
And they better go right back to work. They can't be loose ball, long rebound sensitive right now. Lock right back in if you're Virginia Tech. Forget about the rebound you didn't get and get the next one.
Henderson, the kick out. Shire for 3. It rims out.
There you go.
Thompson's got the rebound. And a man down. And it's Singler. 5 on 4 on the other end. Ball out of bounds to the Hokies. And now the concern is in the backcourt as Singler went down hard and is just now getting up.
I think if you look on the left of your screen on this replay, you're going to see Singler got an elbow. I don't know if it's inadvertent or not. He was going for an offensive rebound and got checked.
He'll stay in there. And Virginia Tech to inbound with a fresh shot clock. Tough inbounds pass to Delaney, and he's fouled by Paulus. A.D. Basayo with back-to-back threes. And the coach is saying, all right, here we go. Let's get everybody into it. Almost 10,000 here in Castle Coliseum, where the Hokies are 9-3 this year at home. There's Basayo again. A number 6 scorer in the conference. We wondered where he was in the first half. He's alive now. He's got their last 8 points.
Brad, once again, his size is what gets him a basket. He's 6'6". Paulus was 6'1". No contest.
5-point advantage. Hasn't been this close since early in the first half.
Virginia Tech is one quality win away from locking up an at-large berth.
Shire rejected. Hokies 2-on-1. Attempt. Here's the shot block. And then it's Basayo. 10 points in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. How important is it? Important to both for different reasons, as we said about an hour and a half ago. North Carolina trounced Georgia Tech today. Duke trying to stay just 1 game back. And Virginia Tech trying to climb in that group with BC and Clemson.
Brad, I look at this league right now, and I think there are 6 teams that are locked, and they have a great potential to get 8, if not maybe 9, and that could be a stretch, but this is my NCAA jet. North Carolina would be in first class as of today. Duke, Clemson, and Wake Forest, very solid business class section. Those are good seats. In coach, I have Florida State and Boston College. Virginia Tech is number 1. They are number 1 overall on the standby list. 1 win today, and they're up there in the coach section with Florida State and Boston College.
Seth Greenberg, who felt the sting a year ago of being left out of the big dance.
The first thing he said to me this morning at 10 o'clock when he walked in, he didn't even say hi. He said, "Jimmy, where are we on your jet?" He was stung last year, and he wants to have a coach seat this year.
You got to get your own travel agent. Singler misses. Thompson the rebound.
Nothing wrong with that look, though, coming out of the timeout. High percentage shot by one of your most trusted players in Singler. Good switch out, good communication by Duke. You have to talk loud enough in practice to win in a loud building on the road. Duke has it down.
Thompson, baseline, offensive foul. They have been in so many close games. They're in another nail-biter right now. I know the women's softball team's playing Pittsburgh because they came in on the same plane as me. It's Judgment Week all over the place. The Hokies had a guy yesterday in the track and field pole vault over 18 feet.
Wow.
Best in the ACC in a long time.
I know it's 7 o'clock this morning. I hear someone running up and down the hallway in my hotel to open the door. And it's a girl from Miami. She's about 5'3" and weighs 100 pounds. She's a miler, and she's getting loose up and down the hallway at 7 a.m. All you can say at that point is, good luck.
I thought you were going to say it was me coming in from last night.
It would have been, but you wouldn't have been walking. Or you wouldn't have been running. Maybe walking.
Foul on Dorenzo Hudson. That time he got his shoulder in the right spot, but his feet still weren't quite planted like Jimmy wanted him. And he bumps Henderson, who was definitely headed to the baseline. 7.5 minutes to go. 3-point game. Hasn't been this close since it was 4-0 Duke at the beginning of the ballgame.
Now taking away that shoulder, they give up a middle drive and force a tough 2. That is outstanding by Virginia Tech. They finally take away the baseline drive and force Henderson into a tough 2.
Let's see if they can capitalize offensively on the other end. Henderson's 0 for 5 in the second half from the floor. He's got 2 free throws, and that's it. Delaney, 3 to tie. Rebound comes off to Henderson. That would have lit up Blacksburg if that 3 had gone. They're coming off a game, the Hokies, when they had a season ACC high 11 threes in their win over Clemson. They're not falling for them tonight so far. I should say this afternoon. 8 on the shot clock.
Late clock. Probably an on-ball screen by Singler for Shire. Singler rejects it. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, Brad. They called Singler up to an on-ball screen. He rejects being a screener and goes to work as a driver.
Vasallo does likewise. What a second half for Adi Vasallo. Here's Williams. Rejected by Thompson. Thompson's had some huge block shots today.
And Brad, that's Williams only starting his 4th game on the road, making a bad decision. And we talked about how to take away drive. Look at this foot right there, boy. He's got that left foot saying there's no way I'm going to force you to the middle. So they've made an adjustment now on taking away the baseline drive. Henderson takes a 22% shot. He's going to miss it 1 out of 5 times.
6 minutes remaining as the ball comes into Vasallo. It's tied.
Brad, he's on the list of 17 guys you can make a case for to be in the top 5 of the ACC. He's towards the bottom of the 17, but that's how good he is, and that's how good this league is.
He's got 19 in the second half. 58 apiece. Henderson. Air ball. Pokeball.
They don't allow Henderson to drive baseline again. He takes another 22% shot, and it's a miss.
You talk about a KFC hot hand. This guy's got his hand way down at the bottom of the bucket.
Angel D. Vasallo has wings right now.
He could be a guardian angel for their NCAA hopes if they can hold on. They've scored the last 15 he has. Wow.
Brad, you want your seniors to have ownership their last go-around. Vasallo was stung last year on Selection Sunday. He's doing everything he can to get that one more resume win to make sure they're not stung this year on Selection Sunday.
24 points. His career high this year was against Wisconsin with 30. All is not lost yet, but it will be on Wednesday again. An all-new episode of Lost at 9/8 Central. Some surprising twists, heart-stopping revelations. Sounds like our game. And an island reunion everyone's going to be talking about. You got to get back to the island because this is a great new season of Lost. I assume that great reunion is going to be Kate and Sawyer, but right now it's Greenberg and Krzyzewski.
Well, and you look at all these close losses, or close games under Seth Greenberg, and that has to pay off for Seth. He's been through it now in the ACC, and think about this. Only North Carolina and Duke have won more ACC games since 2004. That's how consistent this guy has been. Has won right at 50% of those close games.
Hokies have never led.
Oh, Brad, that is the 6th charge today by Virginia Tech. They have over-penetrated against a team that's not going to block shots. They're going to take charges at the rim. Pull up one step sooner. Don't allow Shire to get set. Mistake made by Virginia Tech.
I don't know about that one.
You don't like that call,
I don't like that call. That looked like a flop and a half to me, but that's just me. The officials are the ones that count, and they've let me use the basketball today, Gary and Tony and Bob, so I'm not going to say anything else.
Boy, look at them take away that baseline by Henderson.
Singler for 3. Rebound snatched out of there by Dorenzo Hudson.
I'm not saying that Virginia Tech watched us in our on-camera demonstration, but the last 5 or 6 minutes, they have made sure Duke is not driving baseline in this game.
You got to admit they were waiting for the basketball, so maybe they were watching.
They're waiting for you to blow by me, which I think you could do on a good day.
Have to be a really good day. Here's the foul. I'm McClure.
Duke is the stimulus package economically for teams in the ACC. Every time they go on the road, they have the white outs, the white t-shirts, the white pom-poms, the white towels. Doesn't faze the Dukies. They've been there before.
Thompson's had a big game off the bench, trying to get in the lead for the first time. Still no go and a whistle after the shot. I think Thompson might have had an insult to injury by picking up the foul.
Brad, you got to shoot that basketball inside with toughness. You can't be looking for a foul. I think J.T. Thompson that time was anticipating contact. Forgot to keep his eyes up on the target and make sure he gets 2 points.
And that Duke shooting 1-1. Duke, the 5th best free throw shooting team in the Atlantic Coast Conference, just over 72%. This guy, 3 out of 4 today from the line. He rips that one.
Boy, look at him shoot that ball in a phone booth right now. Singler, terrific.
He's got 13 this half.
Yep. His form, he's only 65% in ACC play from the free throw stripe, but his form is 90%. He's not going to lean forward or lean backwards. He's a straight up, straight down guy. Look at that, all the way through the release. Textbook.
16 for Kyle Singler. Duke's got the lead back by 2. 4:20 remaining. Virginia Tech, some block shots that have been a big part of their game here in the second half. Vassell trying to knock down a 3, and let's see who the foul's going to be on. It's going to be on Singler. That's his 3rd.
How many guys in the country have the courage to make a change like Coach K did in mid-February? Puts Elliott Williams in the starting lineup. That's a move you make in November, December. So this is a Duke team that's going to get better the next couple of 3 weeks as they continue to adjust offensively. This is only Shire's 4th game as a point guard.
Right.
Coach K said we could only be so good with the lineup I had going.
Henderson. Been quiet in the half. He's going to the free throw line.
Brad, you do your job against Henderson. You take away his baseline drive. You force him to a 22% shot, and then you foul him. A no-no.
Just under 4 minutes left in the John. Thanks. Just under 4 minutes remaining here as we take a look at our Pacific Live game summary. What a second half. A.D. Vassell especially. 19 of his 24 in the second half. Singler's had the big second half. Henderson's been held in check. And we've got a 2-point game with Gerald going to the free throw line.
Brad Henderson only 2 points in this half, 0 for 6 from the field. And again, at the halftime, Brad, outside the Duke locker room, they brought him out almost like to get him some cooler air. Had water in his hands, drinking as fast as he could, like he was suffering from cramps, maybe worn down a little bit. But Virginia Tech has also done a great job of taking away his baseline drive where he was doing major damage the first 20 minutes.
As we said, nothing but 20-point games as of late. He's got another one today. Make it 21 as he rips both free throws. Now it's a 4-point game with just under 4 to go. Vassell, the hot hand. He's got McClure on him. And now McClure overplaying inside against Allen. Not a good pass, obviously. A huge turnover.
Brad, as soon as Vassell put the ball over his head, he was telling all 9,586 people in this building, I'm going to feed the post. More importantly, the Duke defender on the post read it as well.
That was David McClure, who's been around the block a few times and knows what's coming. He had it stripped from behind momentarily, but Shire got it back. Singler spins, working against Thompson hard. Allen the rebound. Allen, remember, playing with 4 fouls. Under 3 minutes now.
Gotta let Vassell get a touch. He would be a great screener right now. Let him screen and then get screened on. Not sure about the move to let him go 1-4 up top.
And he's stripped by McClure, but it comes free to Thompson. Now he needs some help, including a timeout. 11 seconds on the shot clock. The defense was over there pinning him against his own bench. Since tying it up, Virginia Tech has been scoreless for almost 3.5 minutes. When you think about their season, it's been a story of close games. Florida State, they lose by 2. BC, they lose by 1. Back in early December against Wisconsin at the buzzer, they lose by 2. And against Xavier in overtime, this one will kill you every time. Half court, off the glass. I mean, That's the close losses this season. Now you can't say, okay, they're 2-1 in overtime this year, so maybe they shouldn't have won 2 of those. But you look at it the other way and say they could have almost won 4 more games. As it is, they're trying desperately to get to 18-10 and 8-6 in the conference. They've got 2:36 to do something about it.
They have 11 seconds on the shot clock. I like going right out off the out of bounds inside. You just don't convert it.
Allen knew he was going to miss it, tried to get his own rebound, but Singler got great position. And now Duke can use some clock.
Both teams in the bonus, so Virginia Tech, as much as they want to pressure and overplay right now, they can't afford to foul.
Mike Krzyzewski calling every shot. Steve Ojakowski and Chris Collins are doing likewise. There's a lot of coaching going on in this front court with 10 on the shot clock.
Boy, good job of keeping Henderson out of that middle drive.
Here he is on the baseline. He's got to shoot now. Shot clock was winding down. Rebound is Jeff Allen's again. Here comes Delaney. Now we're under 2 minutes. But every time I say under 4, under 3, or under 2, the Hokies haven't scored. And now another offensive foul. The 7th of the day.
Boy, and Seth better be careful. He's in that I'll listen to you because I know your frustration zone right now. But you can also get teed up.
Here's how the two coaches saw that last play. A clap of the hands on the Duke side and frustration on Seth's side.
Brad, the guy up top has to get one more win. He knows it, and this might be their best chance because North Carolina in here on Wednesday and at Florida State, one of those long shot teams to get to the Final Four, will not be easy.
This is just the second time Virginia Tech has faced back-to-back ACC games against ranked opponents, and then they've got North Carolina Wednesday and Florida State next Sunday. That's 4 in a row.
They have to have a stop. You get to the NCAA tournament, you have to have a stop, and they can't come up with it. When you had to have a stop, Virginia Tech could not do it.
Singler, that might have been the icer right there, even though we have 1:15 left. 16 of his 18 points for Singler coming this half. All new series coming up Monday. Nick Castle, Kate Beckett there, and unlikely partners in this brand new chapter in crime solving. It's Monday, March 9th, after the season premiere of Dancing with the Stars on ABC. We're in Castle Coliseum, spelled a little differently. Got the same roll off the tongue. Let's see if Jeff Allen can roll one through the nets here because they need points any way they can get them right now.
Brad, he's only 55% from the stripe. He only gets 26% of his points from the free throw stripe. And an inside guy should get 30 to 33% of his points from the free throw stripe.
He's 5 out of 6 today, though, so he's doing the job today, and he's done a nice job defensively. He's played much of this half now with 4 fouls, and if he can get this one, it's a 4-point game. As it is, still a 2-possession game with 1:12 remaining. Came up short, trying to battle for his own miss, and almost got to it. And now we do have a tie up in the corner. How big is that? That's J.T. Thompson fighting for possession.
And that was fighting for your NCAA berth possession is what that was. Here it is. It's not so much a loose ball. It's a loose invite. Boom. Got to have it.
Delaney got it inside to Allen. Timeout. 1:04 left. Duke up by 3, taking a timeout. Talked about the theme of the day, close games for Virginia Tech. It's not just this year. You can start going back pretty much any place you wanted to that you wanted to pick out. You can go back to last March, the ACC tournament. Remember Hansbrough? Right there from the baseline, that ended that one. How about December of 07? They lose to Wake Forest by 2. Take you back to 07 a little bit earlier into December. Duke, 77-75. Or, heck, we'll take you back to 05. If you got the archives, use them. 2-point win for Clemson. And with that in mind, here we come down to another 3-point game. The one thing, they've been through it. They've been battle-tested. The other thing is there that doubt in their mind going, oh no, another 3-point game with 64 seconds to go. Can we win?
You know what? I think their last win on the road helps them. That was a close ball game that they finished off in the last minute. Important for Virginia Tech right now. They just burned their last timeout. So they have no timeouts remaining. They're down 3. I think they come down right now. When I said the last possession, you have to have a stop. whether you win a conference championship or you lock up an NCAA bid, at some point you look back on your season and said, this was a time we had to have a key stop. This is the time for Virginia Tech. Do they have it in them for their first shot defense and their second shot defense to be there and get the ball back and a chance to tie this game?
They came in to try to ruffle some feathers. They don't want to lose by a feather again.
No, they do not. Their wins at Wake, at Miami, at Clemson as of today would probably be good enough to get them in against the likes of the Siennas and Creightons and Davidson and Michigans and different teams you put them up against. One more win, I think, would solidify everything for them, but they have to get a stop right now, and they come with some pressure.
About 60% of the people in this building are standing up. And we got a foul defensively in the backcourt on J.T. Thompson.
That's not what they wanted. You want to give yourself time to force a 5-second count, force a tie-up, force a trap.
He might have put both hands on the offensive player because that was a really quick foul and a quick whistle in the backcourt. At any rate, Duke walks the other way with free throws coming up from Greg Paulus.
Man, this is a kid that has been through it all his senior year.
Yeah.
Benched early, comes off the bench, and gets about 20 minutes a game for the first 20 games. Then he gets his starting spot back for 3 games, and then he gets it jerked out from underneath him. But he is one tough customer, continues to battle.
There's the guy that would have been running the point today despite being here. He's not playing. And with that concussion, you see the earplugs in Nolan Smith. And they're letting Greg Paulus hear it right now, I'll tell you that much. I don't think there's ever been a Duke guard that hasn't heard what he's hearing. The Bobby Hurleys, the J.J. Redicks, you name it. And now Mike Krzyzewski's upset with the folks on the scorer's table over there because he was trying to get a substitution in after the made free throw. And he's saying, hey, why don't you hit the buzzer so I can get my guys in there? Every coach up. Wait a minute, we got a guy at the scorer's table.
Well, we can't see. What we couldn't see in the replay was if the subs were both heading to the scorer's table. If so, it's too late, and that's the proper call.
We welcome those of you that have been watching Oklahoma and Texas Tech. We're in a nail-biter in the ACC as the Hokies have battled back from being down 11 at halftime. They've actually tied this game up at 1 point at 58. But still, Duke has a 4-point lead now with 46 seconds remaining. Castle Coliseum filled to the rafters. Our college basketball presented by KFC. 7th-ranked Duke hammered the Hokies at Cameron Indoor back in early January. The Hokies trying to repay the favor, put another solid win in their resume. But Duke has sustained this onslaught by especially A.D. Basayo in this second half, and they maintain their lead.
Red, had he made both free throws and got it to a 6-point game, Virginia Tech would have had the pressure to come down and make back-to-back threes. Now they don't. So they can, whatever their best quick scoring option is, whether it's a 2 or a 3, doesn't matter right now for Virginia Tech.
Singler got the second. 17 points, 19 points make it for Singler, 17 in the second half. Now the Hokies need points. Delaney's been quiet all day. There's a 3. Missed. Followed by Hudson. He's going to the free throw line. Shire picks up the foul. And Hudson, his only scores today have been the 2 free throws in this half.
You know, mentally right now, it's as much as anything if you're a free throw shooter. Hudson only 55% in ACC play. But as soon as he got fouled, he has to think, you just fouled the wrong dude. That's the attitude, Brad, you have to bring to the free throw stripe when you're shooting your way right now to a possible at-large bid.
And he rips that one.
I like the attitude and I like the stroke out of him.
3 for 3 from the line in this half. And those are his 3 points for the game. The sophomore out of Charlotte. Lorenzo Hudson, and now another substitution coming in. Paulus comes back in, and Williams goes out. Mike Krzyzewski, who almost threw a chair in the first rush that Virginia Tech made, and Seth Greenberg obviously into it that his guys have made it a game in the second half. Can they keep on coming?
But if he makes it, it's a three-point game. Don't foul right now. Give yourself a chance for a steal or a trap. Uh-oh. Fell asleep. Fell asleep.
All alone.
How about that? High IQ play by Paulus to just slip behind. No free safety. Where's Frank Beamer?
He was here earlier. Delaney, three. Short, Vasayo. And it's going to be a foul on Vasayo.
That Greg Paulus, a senior, and he just slips from behind. That's just having no awareness at all for Virginia Tech. You're fighting for an NCAA at-large berth.
It's almost as if Paulus, when he checked in, when they were shooting free throws, didn't realize he had checked in.
Yeah, no one.
I mean, nobody said, "Where's number 3?" He's down here in front of us. Boy, this guy's been unbelievable in the second half.
And Brad, if that is the case, you could put some of that on that Virginia Tech bench, because every time that horn sounds, you have to have an awareness of what's going on, and you have to call attention to guys coming in and guys going out.
A.D. Vasayo, 26 points in the ballgame. Down to a 3-point game again. Virginia Tech out of timeouts, as Jimmy said earlier. 23.7 remaining. Now, Jimmy, the shot clock obviously is off, right? Duke has got the lead. What do you do if you're Seth Greenberg? You put him on the free throw line and then hope that things pan out and you have more time to work with, or what do you work at here?
You know, you're going to have to, because you have to foul down 3. But what you want to do, Brad, is give yourself a chance for either a 5-second count off the inbounds, a steal off the inbounds, or a hard trap, and then maybe get a stolen pass off the first pass. If those 3 things don't happen, boom, then you got to come with a hurry. You'd like to talk about who we can foul, but really at this point, you don't have much choice.
No.
You're going to have to foul, put Duke on the free throw stripe, and hope they miss.
Put the first guy out there with 23.7 seconds remaining. You talk about, when we came into the game, we were talking about Virginia Tech. You know, on game day today, I know a lot of you that have watched this game today that Jimmy and I are doing probably watched the fellas this morning at 11 o'clock leading up to the noon game on ESPN. They spent about 10 minutes talking about teams that are right on that cusp, on the bubble, under consideration, as they put it. And they had Michigan, Siena, Virginia Tech, and who was the 4th team that they had in that grouping? But anyway, Virginia Tech came out of that pile because Michigan fell by the wayside, Siena fell by the wayside, and Virginia Tech was a team that they thought highly of because of this conference, because they're 7-6. But I think all those guys, Jay, Bob, Digger, Hubert, Reese, would all agree that they somehow pulled off a shocker here at home to go with the Wake Forest and the Clemson wins. Then they're in.
Yeah, at Miami, the whole bit right now. Try to get a 5-second count. If you can't get a 5-second count, you don't get a steal. Get a trap. Get a trap. Get a trap. That's perfect.
Still no foul.
That's perfect.
And a timeout taken by Duke. Wow. Shire was fighting for his life. That took 5.7 seconds off the clock.
Great job by Virginia Tech. They forced the trap right here. And Duke has a clock in their head right now, and they're forced to take a timeout. Not because of the 5-second count in the backcourt. That's not the issue, but they had nowhere to go with the basketball. Now Duke burns their last timeout, Brad, if I'm correct.
That's right. They're all gone.
So now the pressure is on Duke to inbounds this ball one more time and then cover up, because now Virginia Tech's going to have to come with that hard foul.
Now those other almost 6 seconds that we were talking about have evaporated.
I would like to see that pivot foot again by Shires. He's pivoting around with that trap on top of him, because it looked like he was doing the hokey pokey here in Blacksburg. Same thing. 5-second count. First is your first option. They got a shot at it.
Henderson, they try to trap him. Now Shire.
There you go.
And you have to foul Shire, and unfortunately he's an 84% free throw shooter.
Logical possession. 5-second count, a trap, boom. Now we've got to come up with it. We don't get the steal. Watch the pivot foot. That's a trap, that's a walk, that's a walk. 2 walks. They don't call either one of them. 3 walks. 3 travels by Shire, and none of them got called. Wow, how can that happen? I don't know. All you have to do is look for that first pivot foot that's been established, and he moved that dude 2 or 3 times.
And he nails the free throw. He hadn't been to the free throw line all day. He didn't look like it or act like it. Obviously, when you're the 9th best free throw shooter in ACC history. And now, Bogdanato and Tony Green have a conference in the lane. The 4-point lead. Shire trying to make it 5. 2 possessions, no matter how you slice it.
Gotta go score quick. A 2 or 3 doesn't matter. You're down 5. Go score quick. Put him back on the foul line one more time.
Delaney,
Gotta get up.
There's a 3. He didn't get it. Rebound is Duke's. And that's just about going to do it. Well, you saw the fist pump there by Mike Krzyzewski trying to keep it kind of low-key because he knew the second half was going to be a battle, and it was. And obviously another close loss is coming up for Seth Greenberg and Virginia Tech. And remember what I told you about Virginia Tech. They've already faced back-to-back ranked ACC teams after beating Clemson and giving Duke a scare. Now they've got North Carolina Wednesday at 7 o'clock on ESPN. And then they've got Florida State next Sunday before the ACC tournament. That's not easy. 2 more ranked top 25 teams coming up.
Well, and also will have some opportunities in that ACC tournament. They don't need another win against the likes of Georgia Tech or someone like that. They need another win to match their wins against Boston College, at Wake, at Miami, and at Clemson. Those are still 3 great wins. But Seth Greenberg was stung last year, as hard as you can get stung on Selection Sunday. And they need 1 more win to eliminate that possibility this year.
And now Duke coming up. They've got a game on Tuesday night. And then, of course, the battle that they always have with North Carolina before the ACC tournament. We know one thing, they're only a game behind the Tar Heels in the ACC standings because they survived Blacksburg. And I mean survived. And Mike knows it. And Seth knows another hard battle by his team. They got too far down in the first half, stayed far down in the second half before A.D. Fasayo and everybody made the big run. They got it tied to 58, and they lose it 72-65. Heartbreaking loss for that guy, especially the way he played.